name is Lee. I'm father to four. I have three wonderful children alive with me at home. However, I missed my first daughter. An experience that still carries very heavy with me. So Scarlett died 5 years ago now, 12th of October 2010. So one of the first and probably foremost hardest decisions was taking her home to our house. It's so tough to change your expectations. Suddenly you're coming into a hospital to take home a child that you're expecting to give a bottle to stay awake at night. And then you're having to change your thoughts to, should I bury this child? Should I cremate this child? Should I touch this child? Should I show her the world? Should I allow other people to see her? All of these thoughts are just thoughts that you've never had even expected you would experience in your life to begin with, let alone that this was going to happen in connection to a birth. It was an extremely tough period of our life, the hardest I've ever been through, and I naturally hope never to have that experience again. So with that choice of should we bury her or should we cremate her, that was a tough one. As I said, I didn't expect that I should even be going through those thoughts. But one of the thoughts that definitely came to my mind was I didn't want her to lie in the ground. She had arrived into the world and not had any experience, and the last thing I wanted her to have was an experience of being in dark and coldness under the ground. What I wanted to do was give her an experience of freedom, because that's something that she wasn't going to experience in a physical term. However, she could live that in a very different way through us, and through being cremated, and then our following decision to then spread those ashes on Aarhus Bay allowed the thought for me that I was releasing her. I was giving her a sense of freedom, a sense of adventure, and very much so a place where I could meet her at any point in time. Water's all around, so after Scarlett was cremated, we received her ashes in a beautiful urn that we had chosen, which was like a pottery colour, a light pottery colour, where she was at rest. So her ashes laid in rest in this urn for actually a year. The year was the reason why they were there for a year is it's very hard to say goodbye. She was and is so much part of our family that it was very tough to make that decision. Well, when should we actually say goodbye? We ended up in the end deciding that it should be on her 1 year day, her first birthday. We decided that the time was right, and we decided that we would like to spread her ashes out onto the Bay of Aarhus. We were in a very privileged position that Christina's parents had a sailing boat and had offered that they would be really, really happy to join in the ceremony and take us out onto the bay. So we chose to actually do that at sunrise. It's very symbolic, the raising of the sun and her ascendance into a different state as such. And we were very much blessed in that the week leading up to her 1 year day was just the most incredible weather. It was beautiful blue skies every single day, and I felt that she was very much almost smiling with us, that she was at how can you say, she was almost really pleased that we'd made a decision and that we were actually going to be able to put her to rest. That's how I took that impression from the weather. The morning that we went and sailed out was very cold, dark, quite stormful. I'm not the best sailor, so It was quite emotional getting out to the spot where we chose to actually spread her ashes. But when we arrived, suddenly the water just became so still, incredibly still, and the sun rose up. Maybe it's a romantic symbolism that I like to attach to these things, but there was really a feeling that she had entered into the space with us, that she was really calm, we were calm, and that we were together in that moment. And our son was with us, and he was the first to take her urn and a handful of petals down to the edge of the water. There was a small platform on the back of the boat that really came down to the level of the water. And my wife and my son stepped down, knelt very close to the water, and he just took the moment and just gently spread some rose petals onto the water and took a handful of ash and very graciously spread that over the water. After my son had spread some ashes, my wife went down and had some very I can assume some very close moments saying goodbye, and then I followed afterwards and did the same, where I was able to put lots of thoughts and just said goodbye very peacefully to the physicalness of her. After we spread the remaining flowers, flower petals, rose petals, her name is Scarlett Rose, so very much petals of roses were the right choice. So by the time that we had finished, the bay was covered in petals, drifting in the calm, gentle breeze. And we came back up on board the boat and just spent some quite just calm and very quiet moments in peaceful reflection.
And watched the sun rising.
And just completed the sunrise. I don't think anybody really spoke. There didn't need to be words. We were all very much in the same place, but in our individual places. So we were in harmony. It was a beautiful moment, a beautiful choice, and one I can still look back on with great fondness. Chose to spread her ashes over the water because we really wanted to ensure that she was always with us. We live close to the water, and we travel a lot. And water is just all around us. Whenever you're on a beach holiday, there's water. Whenever you're even in a city, there's always a lake. There's always water close to hand. And with that, I felt that there was always a sense I could come and spend moments with her.
We often go for walks to the beach with our children. So it's also a place we can be together as a family with our now 3 children.
We like the fact that it's not formal. It's so informal that if we just miss her, we can just go there at a whim. It doesn't mean that we have to make any planning. We can let our emotions decide what we want to do. That's an amazing opportunity that we have with her being spread over the water. I often go running, and sometimes I take down to the water when I'm on my own. Often I'm more of an extrovert, but when I'm down by the water I'm much more introverted, and I allow my thoughts to really play, and I can just gently look over the water and then return to my own internal thoughts over Scarlett, giving a lot more thought and actually meeting her. It's a wonderful experience that I can do that. The ceremony of spreading her ashes was very much a way of physically saying goodbye to her, because she couldn't just stay in an urn forever. Her memory's with us. Her memory will always be with us. And by spreading her over the water, it gave us a home, an eternity home, which is far more functional and practical than her ashes in an urn. So I although I've said physically goodbye to her, I feel that I've actually said hello to her more by now that she's free amongst the water, and that's a far more satisfying place for her to be.